Welcome into another Kong Show, coming to you this time from the Pink Cow. We're with a gentleman today named Jay Noyes, and he's going to be telling us about something you have probably never heard about before. How you doing, Jay?
Hi, thank you.
Welcome to the Pink Cow.
Thank you.
You've been here before, right?
A few times. I like the burritos.
Now, your job description is swordsman for hire. Is that right?
Pretty much. Anything to do with medieval fighting, that's what I do here in Tokyo.
This needs a lot of explanation. Medieval fighting, is that something we need here in Japan?
Well, if you want to be adequately prepared for your upcoming zombie apocalypse, yes, I think that would be useful. But no, Tokyo is sort of unique in this, in that we have such an entertainment industry here that actually they often need knights in armor for commercials and for motion capture work for video games and anything else under the sun. But beyond that, I just like the fighting.
I see. Now, I understand you have an event coming up where we can actually experience and see your fights in medieval armor, right?
Absolutely. Right near Tokyo Tower, we're going to be in the Starrise Tower, and we're going to have the Japan Armor Battle League fighting it out. We got 3 teams fighting it out that day.
Is this something new here in Japan?
This is our second year. We've been trying to find a suitable location, so we've had to make do with much smaller sites until we finally found the right place where we could do it upright, which is the Starrise Tower.
This event is going to be happening when?
On March 28th, Saturday night.
28th, Saturday night. Is there an admission charge?
Yes, there's an admission charge. The front row seats, the ringside seats are already sold out. We've got the middle and back seats. I think they will be 5,000 yen on the day, but you can get them cheaper if you buy them early at Pass Market.
Okay, and you have a website or Facebook site where we can get more information?
Absolutely, armoredbattle.com.
Tell us what we can expect to see when we go to this event. How would you compare it to, say, for example, boxing or sumo?
Well, let's see. The one-on-one fights are much more like boxing and sumo in that they are one-on-one. They are points battles fought with steel weapons, blunted, of course, because this is friendly, safe fighting with quotes around the safe.
So people are getting hurt in these fights?
We are trying to minimize that as much as possible.
Will we see blood?
I hope not, but it's been known to happen. It's sort of like car races, where some people watch the car races for the skill and the power of the engine, and other people just want to see the crash.
Now, if somebody wants to participate in these battles, I guess you call them battles, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, how can they do that, or do you already have teams put together?
We've already got teams put together. Dracones, Sanglier, and Kuroganishu. The Kuroganishu is a samurai team.
A samurai team. So we have samurai fighting against medieval knights, is that right?
You got it. Interesting enough, okay, the samurai teams are all Japanese currently, but right now the knightly teams are Japanese and Gaijin mixed. One of the Japanese fighters is named Ami. He's 2.1 meters tall. Hits like he hits quite hard.
Okay, so people do get hurt in these battles.
Knockouts and broken bones and things like that happen.
Really?
As long as we get hit on the armor, we're pretty much okay until the helmet caves in.
So the helmet caves in?
Yeah, well,
And the skull gets crushed?
We try not to do that, because it's hard. The cleanup's a mess. But we're fighting with axes, so what do you expect? It's kind of the way it works.
This sounds vicious.
Well, the one-on-one fights are the technical fights, where they're semi-vicious, and you fight to head and body shots. But the team fights are where it gets really exciting. Basically, we'll have 4 guys on each team fighting in the melee, and the rules are whoever's standing at the end's the winner.
Wow, is this legal?
Yes.
I have to ask that.
Well, I mean, I would say that we have an injury rate that is similar to that to rugby or boxing. We have fewer minor injuries, like boxing has lots of cuts on your faces.
Right.
It's just that when we have a big injury, it tends to be kind of impressively big.
Does betting take place at your events?
Absolutely no.
There's no gambling?
No gambling, and all the fights are as straight can be, because that's kind of a religion with me. We'll put on a good show for people. We'll have drama, and we'll have not characters, but we'll have, we try to show the fighters as individuals as much as we can, because it's hard to see them with the helmets on.
Sure.
But when they step into the ring and they're fighting, it's not like pro wrestling. All these fights are real, and they're all 100%. They're full on.
It sounds like a big show. Do you have background music that goes along with the fights?
There'll be background music, and
really?
We've got the giant projection screen, 7 meters tall, and 3 walls around in this giant room. So
as I said,
cool.
So let's get back to the basics.
Yeah.
You're a swordsman for hire. Is there much demand for that kind of a job?
More than you'd think. I've worked for Enix Square, working on the Final Fantasy as a motion cap. My team did the cutscenes for Final Fantasy 12, I work as the consultant for Dark Souls 2, which is an online fighting game. What else might somebody...
Now, wait a minute. I'm looking at your resume here, and it says that you worked with AKB-48.
Well, yes, they wanted to put people in armor, so I put them in armor and made whatever extra armor they required at the time.
What, they put their bodyguards, the girls' bodyguards, in armor?
No, they wanted to actually have the girls in armor.
Oh, you'll have to explain this.
Yes, they decided they wanted to put 2 of the girls in a show in armor, so they hired us to get them geared up right.
Did you have armor that fit these young ladies?
Amazingly enough, we did, and they really tried hard. They did their best in quite a lot of very heavy gear.
They danced in the heavy gear?
They didn't dance. They actually swung a sword at each other.
Wow! And how was it working with AKB-48?
Nice. They, like I said, they stuck with it more than I'd seen most people try. It's standing around in 30 kilos of armor while you're trying to do a show and still being able to put a personality. That's fairly impressive. They're fighting. They've got some work to do.
Were they as cute in person as they are on TV?
Amazingly enough, yes, absolutely as cute in person. It was one of my it was a tough job, but I somehow suffered through it and had a great time.
All right. Did you get a picture with the girls?
Yes, somewhere I've got one.
By the way, we are here at the Pink Cow. There is some noise going on in the background here. They're setting up for events happening tonight.
Well, Tracy's always got something going on here, so...
By the way, since we're here at the Pink Cow, have you ever tried the burrito here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what do you think?
They are terrific. You can't miss this.
All right.
You've got one sitting in front of you. Enjoy.
Would you recommend the burritos here to your friends?
I'm about to steal yours from you.
How would you describe the Pink Cow?
It is a cultural nexus for Gaijin culture in Japan. Anybody who is anybody in our little community within Japan comes through the Pink Cow.
Just a few more questions, Jay. I heard you have also worked with the entertainer named Gact.
Yes, we did a music video Until the Last Day. When I say we, I mean I put armor on him and supplied his background bodies with armor. They had a bunch of guys who had to sit there and be dead bodies for hours on the set.
All right, Jay, from this point in the interview, I'd like to bring in a couple of friends. Chris Petros, who is the editor-in-chief of Japan Today.
Good to be with you again. Looking forward to hearing a bit more about this battle you're talking about.
And Caleb James, musician in demand here in Tokyo.
Hey, man, I'm looking at the flyer for his event, and I just keep thinking, this is what the music industry is all about. It looks like a meeting.
We're heavy on percussion.
Yeah, evidently, yeah.
Caleb, if you were going to create some music for this event, what kind of music would you create?
I'm thinking, I'm looking at this stuff, and Yanni is the only thing just flowing over and over and over and through my mind. We get Yanni and we put him in the middle of one of your battles.
Maybe too relaxed to fight, is that?
Too relaxed to fight, yeah.
What sort of physical training do you do to get in shape for these contests?
In my case, we're talking about running, we're talking about lifting kettlebells, working the Pell. The Pell is this target we've got made out of rubber tires, and basically you beat on that with an axe for a while. And then lots and lots of classes and tons of sparring and fighting.
Where do you feel sorest the next day?
This next day, usually my hands from gripping the weapon and my right leg, because you end up pushing a lot of power through your right side.
Do you have medics on standby when you have these contests?
Yeah, we always have medics on standby. Safety, well, it isn't first with us, but it's in the top 10, you know.
Do the fights ever spill out into the crowds? Of course, when we see car racing, sometimes you see the cars go up into the bleachers. Does anything like that ever happen during your battles?
We try to keep that to a minimum by building a big, strong steel cage around the fighters that's strong enough to keep them all in one place.
Well, it's not like a hockey fight, like if you guys bring into the audience and they go, "Why you son of a bitch?" and they jump in and try to join in.
Well, no. Like I said, we've got a big army, and if he fell on somebody, it would be, more of a splatter than anything else.
Ouch.
He's 2 meters tall, so in armor.
Is the sport popular with girls? Are there a lot of girls in the audience?
Amazingly enough, there were more girls in the audience in the last tournament than guys. A lot of them were there for Yakushita-san. He's a samurai fighter, a very nice-looking guy who's tons of guts. So he's about, 5'1"?
Wow, really?
And he was fighting it out with axes with Ami, the guy who's 2 meters tall, and people were just on the edge of their seats.
What do you think of some of my favorite shows are, like Game of Thrones and some of these other, not because they're medieval, just have great storylines, but they just happen to have a great deal of swordplay. Do you guys do the same thing I do when I see people like being musicians? Like I critique the way they're holding the guitar or how their lips are moving. Do you guys do the same thing when you see movies like Hunger Games and go, she's doing that all wrong and that sort of thing?
I used to be really bad about that, but I found out that I couldn't enjoy the movies anymore, so I mostly just sort of go la 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 and put my fingers in my ears and just try to enjoy it for what it is. Because until you get to something like Lord of the Rings, where they really put effort into making a style that worked. I appreciated their effort on that. It wasn't as painful as some of them.
Do you have some heroes in these battles? I mean, are there some stars? And do you have cheering squads or anything like that?
For the cheering, we have the Steel Divas. Each team has their own cheerleader.
Divas?
Yes, we've got their own cheerleader.
I love them just from the name.
Are they wearing armor as well?
They've got some chain armor on, covering strategic places.
Tell me that's not why you call them Steel Divas, though. That would be so great if it was some hidden meaning, please.
No, that's pretty much it. The name of the tournament is Steel, and so therefore they are the Steel Divas.
And do they jump and cheer and do backflips, that sort of thing?
They jump and cheer, not so much backflips. We rarely have enough space, but they basically help the crowd appreciate the sport and are just very pleasant to have around.
Do you have heroes? Let's get back to that question. Do you have some heroes in these battles? I mean, are there some famous people?
These days, there are several fighters that are more famous. Ukulov, he's a Russian fighter whose name I have trouble pronouncing. He's a machine.
That's his nickname, the Machine?
No, he's just frightening to watch.
There you go. Yeah, now he's got a nickname, the Machine.
Machine. He probably has some Russian nickname, which probably translates to scary as hell with a weapon.
I'm thinking more like 10 to 20.
Well, the Russians are not exactly full of gentle kindness either, so he's exceptional among them for the ability to wreak damage on people.
For this to succeed, you have to create personalities for all the contestants, right? You can't see their face, so it's got to be either in their action, their theme song, or their costume, right?
Yep, you've got that, and that's what we're trying to do. The people who do this sort of thing are going to be characters to begin with. So you've got Yakashiro-san with all the guts, you've got Ami-san, Joshua, who's the captain of Sanglier, who has trained himself up to just be a very strong fighter. Actually, one of their first times out in public, so I'm looking to see how they develop in that way.
Again, the event is going to be happening on March 28th. That's going to be at Tokyo Tower.
Just behind Tokyo Tower. It's called Starrise Tower. It's right behind it.
And there's no betting on these battles?
No betting, no gambling. But the fights are full contact, very competitive.
And if a person would like to participate in the fight, I guess they would have to go through some training, right?
Exactly. They need to come to the school and...
No, I thought you were going to mention, you have to come down to the mental ward and talk to our psychiatrist, a few therapists, a blood sample.
We've already gotten all the guys out of the mental ward. That's the current team. We're looking for a new crop of fighters who are a little less insane.
We got to fill these teams up.
Exactly.
So if you're missing a few marbles, this might be the sport for you.
But if they want to fight, they come to Castle Tintagel in Majuro. That's where the school is. Tintagel. And if they have not any martial arts skill at all, we can take them and train them up. If they do have some skill, we'll put them on sort of a team training program.
And Jay, if any of our listeners want to see you at this event, what will you be wearing?
I will be wearing steel plate armor and chain. I'll be having a dragon for the Dracones team and a very long sword.
It's an M Club, doesn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know, Chris. I've never been.
We don't have as much fun with the pain in that. It's better to give than to receive.
I have, and yes, it does. That's exactly what it sounds like.
All right, Jay Noyes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Swordsman for hire. How do we say goodbye, and what language do we use for swordsman?
On a daily basis, we say goodbye, but in many circumstances, it's farewell until anon.
I would have guessed more like, God, I'm bleeding, help me.
It's usually like, remember the emergency number is 119, yes.
Jay Noyes, thank you very much.
Thank you.